Woke Hollywood bends the knee.
Nerdrotic.com.
Greetings, you over 1 million hellions and the 40% who haven't subscribed yet. After a really tough few years, it's all quiet on the Hollywood front. And that's not surprising considering the multiple interruptions and disruptions Tinseltown has gone through just in the last half decade, including but not limited to the government response to COVID, ill-advised strikes, the inevitable cultural shift this past November that they have been fighting off for years, and then followed up with the tragic fires in Pacific Palisades and other places that did not threaten the infrastructure of Hollywood, but it did destroy the lives of a lot of people who work there. And no, I'm not happy about any of this. People lost their lives. I'm not going to dance on the ashes of anyone's home or memories. That being said, Hollywood has taken it in the shorts. So after multiple self-inflicted wounds, a giant ass-kicking in the culture war, and an act of God, it's forced Hollywood to be humble. Don't believe me? From Variety. Hollywood is now ready to work with Trump. You didn't hear Biden talking about how to help us? Ouch. And believe me, we'll get back to that. But as a grateful recovering addict, and some of you might be out there.
I mean, they are smart. Of course, you're going to work whoever has or possesses the power nowadays. And how easily they shifted, that is so hypocritical.
My brothers and sisters in sobriety, you know, life doesn't change until you hit bottom. And maybe this is Hollywood's wake-up call, because now they're forced to look inward. And I love these introspective articles, particularly when they come from sites like Vulture. And I have to admit, for Vulture anyway, they did try. They mostly didn't succeed, but they did bring up the one thing that every single Access Media article has missed over all the years I've done this channel. And this may be a first because, spoilers, they actually mentioned the demonizing of you.
What?
Hollywood braces for a masks-off Trump era. There's more fear in the executive suites now than there ever has been. Quick reminder, this is Vulture, owned by Vox Media, and while it's an attempt at balance for them, it wouldn't even be close for normal people. Most movie business insiders are hunched in a crash position alongside Disney executives for good reason. After facing a pandemic and twin Hollywood strikes, the inhabitants of the 30-mile zone, that's where TMZ comes from, know sweeping changes coming, even if the precise shape and scope is uncertain. Sources Vulture consulted with, ranging from studio executives to hit-making producers and high-level talent managers, as well as on-set crew members, most of whom spoke on a condition of anonymity. I want you to remember that. Predict Hollywood will generally become more self-censoring and less capable of critiquing the current political moment, if not less influential overall.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
So all the people Vulture talked to on the condition of anonymity are worried about self-censoring, far be it for me to point out that that's exactly what you've been doing due to your mandated DEI restrictions, and that's what they are, your social engineering and your overall adherence to the message. And as far as being less influential is concerned, well, you're right there, but I thought the whole point of your industry was to entertain. I digress. Hollywood doesn't matter as much as it thinks it matters, says a talent manager with A-list clients. You had the biggest stars in the world support Kamala. She couldn't have drawn more powerful advocates, and it didn't move the needle. What does that tell you? It's unsettling, because the people and things you hold in high esteem don't drive the culture. As much as I love movies, they aren't the drivers anymore. It's not like we haven't been trying to warn you for years. Vulture asks, will any culture of resistance persist? You never know. There might be some people out there who still don't believe that every facet of every corporation that provides information and entertainment was trying to push the message, while Vulture just admits that the United Talent Agency was one of the entities behind it. One corporate strategist with interests across film and television described the feeling around town as preemptive exhaustion. Well, we've been exhausted with your act, so the feeling is mutual. This next bit is interesting. Hollywood is plagued by a sense of doom precipitated not just by financial anxieties, but a feeling that a persuasive woke is broke mindset will affect what we see on our screens in the coming years. It already has affected it. In this sense, they see film as more of a bellwether than a trailblazer, reflective of the culture at large more than predictive and dictative. There might have been a time where Hollywood was a trendsetter, but that was a long time ago. Now it's where trends go to die. And thankfully, one of those trends that died a long overdue death was woke. And it's because Hollywood wasn't trying to be reflective of the culture, as they just said in this article. They were trying to dictate it. The movement away from woke was already in motion, even before Trump got reelected, says a Blockbuster producer who points to 2 of the 3 movies in the last Disney Star Wars trilogy, The Last Jedi and The Rise of Palpatine, and several recent Marvel movies, Eternals and The Marvels, all of which underperformed at the box office, backdropped by a din of fanboy complaints about forced diversity. So apparently it was just fanboy complaints that helped perpetuate this massive cultural shift. Good on you. The anonymous Blockbuster producer continues. We've been seeing the departure of executives at the studio that had been hired to promote DEI in film and TV. Hollywood has swung too far to the left over the past few years, you don't say. And there was bound to be a reckoning.
You just figured that out? Literally, you just figured that out now. Ah, interesting. Yeah. What we have been saying the whole time.
No fucking way. And if you're not tired of winning, Vulture does point out that the diversity, equity, and inclusion bashing Am I Racist prevailed as 2024's highest grossing documentary in the same year that the production company that made Al Gore's An Inconvenient Truth shut down permanently. There isn't a strong desire for rhetorical storytelling in Hollywood, says one production exec. In certain corners of the entertainment world, there's suddenly this opportunity for conservative-minded viewers to see a bit of their world represented. Holy shit. They just realized that maybe conservatives have been marginalized and underrepresented.
Newsflash, you stupid cocks.
Yes, newsflash, Hollywood, and quite frankly,
when was the last time you watched a movie without woke in it in Hollywood,
a lot of conservatives,
or a series,
conservatives do like entertainment and pop culture. So do libertarians and independent a-holes like me. But I don't think it's necessarily going to flip to the other side of the equation. And no one, not even conservatives, have asked that. And
yeah, we literally are not asking for that. But if you want some inclusion, if you want equity, if you do wanna represent a certain race, sex, or whatever, do it the right way. Bring their own stories. Don't do it the lazy way. All right, do it the right way. And we will be there for it. We will support it. If it is done right, if it is well done, good done, storytelling, all new or original, then I don't think any of us would have anything against it.
guess what? Conservative movers and shakers and pundits have a huge part to play in this because they abandon things like pop culture. They shamed nerds, they shamed gamers, and they ignored the warnings of Andrew Breitbart. Love him or hate him, the man wrote a book on this in 2003 and said this:
pop culture matters.
Something the left, quite frankly, has always understood. Unfortunately for them, just like every industry and institution in the West, they got arrogant and overplayed their hand. The mantra in Hollywood was survive until 25, but if you take a look at the major film release schedule for this year, it doesn't look that different from last year.
Oh my God,
look at
let
the
me
major
just say
film
this.
release schedule for this year. It doesn't look that
That's too much. This is oversaturation. This shows you how lazy they are. If you are capable of producing more than two movies as a studio, you are not giving attention to any of those movies. This is too much. Yeah.
different from last year. One filled with unnecessary prequels, sequels, midquels, and requels.
No
in a more pressing
originals,
example of what's to come in 2025, there is Marvel's Captain African American, Brave New World, the Captain America sequel without Captain America, whose pre-sales are abysmal right now, which before June 2023 was titled Captain African American New World Order. The change was taken as an implicit response to the IRL New World Order conspiracy theory gaining traction in right-wing extremist corners on the internet.
Honestly, every time they say New World Order, I just think about WWE and actually WCW.
It posits the existence of a secret global elite conspiring to implement a totalitarian one-world government, because that's absolutely ridiculous. That's not happening. Early test screenings of Brave New World, which hits theaters Valentine's Day, February 14th. Hey, you can take your future ex-wife out to a date. were reportedly disastrous, prompting expensive reshoots, with major sequences cut from the film. Yes, they reshot an entire new film and then cut about a half an hour out of it. According to a technical crew member on the film with knowledge of both the screenings and the reshoot process, the character portrayed by Harrison Ford, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, a demagogic military leader who morphs into an irrational, orange-hued superhuman, the Red Hulk, created
orange-hued superhuman, red. Okay, that the color is red, my friend.
Unforeseen
and it is Red Hulk.
Political resonances for the studio in an inaugural year. Are you telling me that Marvel would use one of their characters as a stand-in for Trump? Nah.
Oh, wait a minute. You asked me a question about being the president.
You asked me a question about being the president.
I did, yeah.
I'll make no reference to current history. None.
The Disney Marvel crew member continues. He's this very powerful general who becomes a kind of a fascist and turns into a raging Red Hulk. That was seen as an allusion to Trump, the source explains. Disney.
Like, it's so funny how they said orange-hued superhuman. Go back to that. Who has orange hair, kinda? More orangey than actually blonde.
Was realizing, hey, we've been bleeding for a while. Let's try not to piss off our core base any more than we've been over the past couple of years. Try 5. Again, that is from a Disney Marvel employee, and I have heard from Disney Marvel employees the exact same thing. And considering Disney made changes to Inside Out 2 and took out an automatic or manual transmission storyline from its Pixar.
Would it have same-sex kiss in a freaking kids show? There should not be kissing. No kissing at all. Even if parents are kissing in the show, on the cheek, my friend. Okay?
Our animated series Win or Lose, which admittedly is a surprise. I do know Hollywood will indeed self-censor. An awards campaign publicist with experience campaigning for left-leaning Oscar movies told me via email, less critical stuff, lots more of that. Again, Hollywood, you have been self-censoring, particularly for the last 4 years, and it's not because you thought it would be mean to make fun of a senile old man. On a personal level, Hollywood stars seem to have learned a lesson around the airing of Trump grievances from Rachel Zegler, the star of Disney's upcoming live-action remake, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, who has become the face of insufferable Hollywood through her actions.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
I actually am having
cartoons made
PTSD
85
from
years
this
ago,
woman.
And therefore, it's extremely dated. It's no longer 1937. The original cartoon came out in 1937, and a very evident use.
I'm gonna stand there 18 hours in press with an iconic Disney princess. I deserve to be paid for every hour letting this stream online.
Oh my God, woman. Oh my. It's like she lived 70 years of oppression in her life and now she's speaking. Like, what? You just were born yesterday. What the hell is she talking about?
If you disagree with the sentiment,
she knows nothing. She literally thinks it's cool and she's repeating what she thinks is cool. You know, she's like, I'm brave to speak out. No, you're not. You're dumb. That's what you are. You're dumb to speak out about things you don't even know anything about.
Your business. Thanks.
A few days after the election, a 23-year-old singer-actress loudly broadcast her anguish on Instagram, made Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace. I think it would be prudent to point out that Gina Carano was fired for far less. Hope you win that lawsuit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I hope she wins that lawsuit, you guys. When is it happening?
By the way,
how long will that last?
Now, the backlash was swift, brutal, and decisive because this adult pretender couldn't keep her pie hole shut, and then she was forced to apologize. Kind of. The upshot, Zegler issued an apology. I let my emotions get the best of me, she wrote on Instagram. The takeaway, it creates a reticence among famous people to take a stand unless they want to deal with the repercussions, an indie production company executive says. Now, here's the big one. There's a big difference between explaining what side of the aisle you sit on and speaking negatively about a large swath of people you might be depending on to see your movie.
Exactly. Like, she would not have apologized if she didn't screw up the movie itself, because she's the face of it, kinda. She not alone, but she is. And she is harming the movie. Honestly, I feel like since they hired her, she has been harming the movie just by her existence. Because she, from her look, from her origin, from her ethnicity, like we already had a problem because Snow White should be German. She should be white woman. It's Snow White, like white as snow. And since then, and shitting on the classics, not but just how she looks by the fact that she opens her mouth and speaks her mind, that has nothing, like she's not even supporting the movie herself. Why would we? Why would we even support? I don't even think I'm going to be watching that movie just because I just cannot handle seeing her on screen anymore.
You heard that right. Vulture just acknowledged that pissing off and demonizing half the country, half of your potential audience is probably not a very good idea. And it wasn't even followed up with a pithy comment like, but they're all bigots anyway, so f*** 'em. And to state the obvious, isn't it interesting that the access media is now agreeing with all of us bigots and using our talking points from 4 years ago? With film production and post-strike, post-pandemic Hollywood estimated to be down by as much as 40% and widespread anxiety over dwindling revenues and audience interest, many industry machers remain more concerned with surviving another financial quarter than thriving under Trump too.
Bro, like half of these words I don't even know. And not because I'm dumb. English is not my native language.
We're just doing triage on the patients that are coming off the battlefield, says a marketing executive, not thinking about how we resupply the troops. Man, if this is what they're telling us, imagine how bad things really are. But calm down with the war references, sweetheart. You make pretend for a living, and maybe you need to remember that. Back in the day.
Not only that she makes pretend for a living, she makes pretend for an actual opinion. She is someone who is brainwashed. She has around her maybe people who are older who are telling her things, and she's like nodding, and then she goes and repeats what they said as if it's her own opinion. She doesn't have the time to, she doesn't even have the experience, the years to make up her own opinion about certain things like that. And she goes and talks about war. What war? You never faced any war. During your lifetime, you never had a war. So this, I can't. I just can't.
Hey, when Hollywood was influential, it was simply because they were making pretty good art and telling pretty good stories. But we're a long way from that, and now they're beaten and broken and forced to bend the knee at King's Landing. And this one's gotta hurt. Again, Hollywood is now ready to work with Trump. Didn't hear Biden talking about helping us. I don't want to take credit away from the old man. How can we forget the Hollywood bailout, where they took our money to keep your theaters open that the government shut down? For some, a return to 2020 before COVID. 2020 before COVID was exactly 2 months. Strikes and devastating wildfires crippling Hollywood's limping economy would be welcome, even if it meant enduring Trump's drive-by attacks on the industry. Members of the industry most left-wing contingent, the unions, are privately expressing hope that the president's planned tariffs on imports may cover runaway production, thus creating a greater incentive to film in the hard-hit hubs like Los Angeles and Atlanta. And again, wouldn't that hurt if Trump saved Hollywood? Man, he's bringing Sly, John Voight, and Mel Gibson to do it.
I'm coming to get you.
One prolific indie film producer says he doesn't care for Trump's politics, but admits it is refreshing to hear the Office of the President focus on how we can get the movie business back on track and back in Los Angeles. To numerous power players Variety spoke with, just as staggering as the town's silence over the encroaching Trump effect. Okay, let's be real. Not.
Wait, sad Hollywood celebrities wallow in despair as Trump rides mandate back to power. Nothing to celebrate. It's sickening.
Everybody's silent. Is the procession of media moguls from Amazon executive chairman Jeff Bezos, dude, you want to convince me you've changed? Cancel Rings of Power. To Disney CEO Bob Iger.
Oh, but why would they though? Why would he? He loves it. The only I think he's a fan. He has the money, he's doing it, he doesn't even care. How many seasons did they want to do? I don't know if they're going to even have a season 3 at this point, because season 2 was such a flop.
Making the pilgrimage to Mar-a-Lago to bend the knee. Or will they do what they've done in recent history, learn all the wrong lessons? But without a doubt, the biggest loser in Tinseltown, aside from Hollywood overall as an industry, was the Hollywood celebrity, the death of their relevance. They were soundly defeated politically and morally. And as they lick their wounds, maybe they'll understand that they broke the first rule of business. Don't fuck with the money, which is us.
Exactly. Don't F with the money. I want a shirt like that. I'm gonna make a merch, don't fuck with the money. Yeah. But I don't know if I'm gonna include the word like fuck or something similar, because you know, some people don't want to wear that. Either way, what I wanted to say, is that I feel like Hollywood, like celebrities back in the day, they were so mysterious and mystique. We had just handpicked newspaper articles and interviews about them, and they would say like certain things, and that would be re-edited, rewritten to make it sound even better. And yeah, they would rehearse what they have to say. And nowadays it's not like that. They just turn on a live and they go and they speak their mind, and then they figure out, oh shit, I screwed it. Especially if they are still working. I understand people who are in pension, retired, and they don't care anymore. They have a whole legacy behind them. And yeah, they can say whatever they want and they don't care about being canceled. But if you are the face of a movie, the face of a studio, whatever, like you cannot just speak your mind. You should not. You should think twice, 3 times, because of all the people that are working as well there. Because whenever you speak, people are listening to what you're saying and thinking that everybody on that movie who are working in that movie, they think the same way. You know, you are the face of it, even if you haven't done everything, you know, you just acted. But yeah. That's it. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time. Bye.